many of you have a meditation practice? Awesome, this is beautiful, very beautiful. So meditation can be daunting. Speaking of silence, meditation can be very daunting. And I think many people have the idea that you're supposed to sit in the lotus position with a mudra on your knees, and that's not necessarily the case. You can do that, and some people find that very comfortable. Meditation can also be finding silence in nature and taking a walk, but just being in that present moment where you're not thinking about what you're going to cook for dinner or, the guy that ran you off the road on the way to work. So we're going to talk a little bit about meditation and mindfulness and how sound plays a role in that. How many people have done a sound meditation before? So good. How many people have not? So lots of new people. Awesome. So sound has a way of really relaxing the body even when we sleep at night, our bodies don't really relax. When we sleep at night, our bodies are still very busy digesting and processing all of the emotions that we had during the day and whatnot. But when you get into a sound meditation and you'll learn the frequencies from these instruments, they speak to the mechanoreceptors in our body. So every part of our body that's connected into our neurosystem has receptors on it. And when these frequencies reach the body, for a while your mind is going to go, what in the world is the sound of a gong? That's just strange, right? What is that? And so your mind's going to play some tricks with you. And then all of a sudden, your mind's going to give up. And you're just going to feel the very calmness in your body. And I'll take you through some breathing as we sort of get nestled into this and before we begin. And along with the breathing and really getting your body slowed down, your whole system slowed down, it gives your body a chance to really relax and to almost go into a trance state where you're somewhat awake, but your body isn't really awake. It's asleep. When this happens, it triggers our brain to give off chemicals like oxytocins and serotonins and all the good stuff that heals our body. So if we give our body the right environment, it's very powerful. Our bodies have the ability to heal ourselves. How many of you know Joe Dispenza? Have you ever heard of Joe Dispenza? His story is amazing. He actually, when he was told he would never walk again after a bicycle accident, he went into a deep meditation, and he didn't do it the first time. It took him thousands of tries before he finally got through, and he actually healed his body through thought, through process. He was a doctor, so he knew all of the internal workings of his body. He actually healed himself. He walks, he speaks today. So that's just an example of how powerful our bodies are if we give it the right environment. So what I want to do before we really get into the sound, I know Megan and I talked a little bit about cards and oracle cards or affirmation cards. How many of you have ever used oracle cards before or affirmation cards? So as we go into this, to help you kind of set an intention for your sound meditation and to quiet your mind, if you'd like to go into it with a little message from these sweet little cards, I invite you to go ahead and come up. You can pick whichever deck you want. And then just go through. A lot of people sort of feel their way through the cards, but just grab a card and see what message comes from it. So if anybody wants to do that, go ahead and come forward. I don't often do sound meditations in the morning, so this is different for me. It's kind of fun. But generally when I'm doing sound meditations, it's in the evening or at night, and it's dark. And I bring lights with me. I tried to set them up, but you can't see them. It's too light in here. So if you ever want to join me in the evening, anywhere I teach or practice, you'll see watery blues and stars on the ceiling. Yeah?
What studios do you teach?
So the question was, what studios do I teach? I teach randomly at different places around Dallas. I teach at Equinox occasionally. I teach at Lifetime Fitness out in Frisco. I teach at a number of different yoga studios. Arlington Yoga Studio is a regular, and there's a couple of others in Dallas. But I teach regular class at the Refuge Meditation. Has anybody ever heard of the Refuge? on Tuesday nights and Thursday nights at 9. It's a little bit late, but you can come get a 30-minute sound bath and go right to bed. So the sound waves, I talked a little bit about how sound waves really speak to the receptors, the mechanoreceptors and the neuroreceptors in our body. But if you think about it, sound moves 4 times faster through water than it does through even the air. Our bodies are 70 to 80% water. So that's why those sound waves can really penetrate at a cellular level and you really feel them. So I'm excited for you to really experience this. And I really want to get some feedback at the end too, if you're open to speaking about your experience. Are there any questions before we go into this? Yes.
Can you tell us about some of the best stories that have happened, experiences people have had, how this has really changed their lives?
So there's a couple of, have you ever heard of Dr. Mitchell Gaynor? Anybody? He's got a book, I believe the title is The Healing Power of Sound. He is an oncologist. And he went and took a trip, I think, to Nepal or to maybe even Tibet. Brought back a Tibetan bowl, much like one of these. And he had it sitting in his office. And one day he started playing it with a client in there, just striking it, and noticed how it quieted one of his patients. And so then he started doing some studies on using the Tibetan bowls and sound with some of his patients while they were going through their chemo treatments and stuff. And then he started comparing them to those that he didn't use sound on. And what he discovered is that the patients that he was using the bowls on healed much quicker, got through their process of chemo and radiation much quicker. And so therefore he wrote a book about it. So that's one really profound way that I know things have changed. For me personally, I've seen it really address people that have migraines and that have anxiety. If you've got like chronic PTSD and anxiety, it's really something that people have found that just totally, it takes your nervous system and just, chills it out. There's a lot of other stories out there that I'm probably missing and not representing, but I'm really excited to see what you guys think. Anybody else? Yes.
The great results you're talking about, is that specific to I guess you would call those brass instrument or the percussion, compared to maybe something else that's restful like a harp or a cello or something?
So it's all frequency based, and it's all how it makes you feel, right? There are some people, and you'll hear me play the crystal bowls here in a little bit, that don't like those at all. And maybe some of you will have the same reaction because they can be abrasive. But then there are some that are like, oh my gosh, I just love those crystal bowls, right? So it puts that emotion into your body. It's hard to explain how the frequencies of these work, but the gongs you'll hear, so you've got pure note instruments, so the crystal bowls are pure note. They play one note. So if I play it and it's playing a C, that's all you're going to hear. If I tap the gong, you're going to hear a range of notes come out. So, and those frequencies, just depending on, what you've got going on in your body, it may speak or it may not speak to it. Every organ in our body vibrates at a different frequency. I don't know exactly what those are. You can Google that and look, but it just depends. The harp's going to speak to you and you're going to feel it in your body versus somebody who might like the crystal bowls or the gongs. Yeah.
How did sound heal you?
I was very anxious. I was in the corporate world. I'm a corporate dropout. Kinda. I'm still doing some corporate stuff. But, it was just the anxiety. I was on anxiety medicine. And I've always been into sound, even in high school. And I played in the band. Played instruments in the band, played the piano. So I've always been attracted to sound in some way. But when I had my first gong meditation with a gentleman, some of you may know, Kenny Coulter, I would just suddenly, like I was saying, my whole body just let go. It just let go of all the tension that was built up in there. And it allowed me to recognize some of the things that were creating stress in my body that I didn't even know I was stressed about. So it gave me the chance, again, back to our theme of silence, to really just sit with myself and be with myself and allow those frequencies to flow through me. And I think today I'm much more calm than I used to be. So it's healed a lot of stress. I'm not on anxiety medicine. And, you know, that's my story. Some people have a lot. I have counterparts that have much huger stories than that. A private pilot that's a really good friend of mine that lives in Scottsdale, Arizona. She'd been a private pilot for, I think, 20 some years. And over those 20 years, she was inhaling all of that jet fuel fumes. And one day it just like took her out. She couldn't even move her body. It like messed up her body so much. And she discovered the gong. And she discovered how it felt. She bought a gong and she would lay in bed and bang that gong. Today she's like got one of the most beautiful sound sanctuaries ever in Scottsdale, Arizona, and is helping a whole lot of people in that area. Yes.
So does like the sound of waves and water, like that seems to work for me. So especially I have a sound machine at night and I can't
Yes.
fall asleep unless something is
Just got your mind.
like calming me.
Yeah.
Is that the same?
Absolutely. It's a form of sound meditation for sure. And I've got a little surprise for you I think you'll like in a little bit. Since you like the ocean. All right, anybody else? We'll have time at the end also for questions and answers after you've kind of experienced this. So without further ado, let's get into this. All right, so I'm not going to use the microphone because I'm going to walk around a little bit and I'll try to talk. Hopefully my voice won't go. All right, so just get comfortable. If that's laying down for you, go ahead and lay down. If it's sitting up. One thing I do want to make sure everybody knows is the goal is not to be still as possible during this. You can be, but because sound moves energy through your body, sometimes we have some stuck energy, especially in our joints. So if your body's asking you to stretch or to do anything during this, just honor whatever your body's asking. So as we go into this, I'm going to guide you through a little bit of breathing. We're going to do an inhale, and I'll count to 5. Then we're going to hold the breath for a few counts. And then we're going to exhale to the count of 10. At first, this may be uncomfortable, but just follow along as much as you can. Because as you do this, extending that exhale is like a hack into the vagus nerve. Our vagus nerve's attached to every organ in our body. So if we can trigger that vagus nerve through some breathing and through sound and through meditation, then it's going to trigger your body to really slow down. So exhale completely. Let's inhale to the count of 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Hold your breath. 2, 3, 4. Exhale. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Inhale. 2, 3, 4, 5. Hold your breath. 2, 3, 4. Exhale. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. One more time. Inhale. 2, 3, 4, 5. Hold your breath. 2, 3, 4. Exhale. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Now just breathe normally. And just notice, is your body feeling different? Do you feel just a little bit more melted into your mat or onto the floor? In the theme of silence, I want you to become aware now of your thoughts. There's something on your mind. And just take a step back and become the observer of that thought. And as you do, that thought's going to pass through your mind. And then another thought's going to come into your mind. So we're human. We can't completely stop thoughts. But what you'll notice is as your heart rate's slowing down, as your body's slowing down, your mind is also slowing down. So what I invite you to do is to notice those still, quiet moments in between the thoughts. And as we go into this meditation, I invite you to expand in those quiet spaces in between the thought. That's the connection to your higher self. That's your connection to creativity, inspired thought. When we release our mind of thought and let our subconscious take over, it's that inspired, all-knowing self that we connect with. So if during this sound meditation you find yourself in thought, you're going down the rabbit hole of thought, just return to that breath, that sequence of breathing, and recenter yourself. So take a moment to just imagine yourself standing on a beach, beautiful beach, right at the edge of the water. It's just before sunset. The sun is throwing beautiful hues of orange and pink and blue across the water and the sky. You feel your feet in the warm sand. There's a gentle breeze across your skin. Brings the sweet smell of ocean air. As you stand there in this beautiful space all by yourself, just in your mind's eye, make a list of everything you're grateful for. And somehow find gratitude for even those difficult lessons that have been great teachers. And just really allow your body to be saturated with gratitude. Really feel it in your heart. Gratitude is also medicine. It's a magnet for peace and love and joy. Gratitude is also a magnet for abundance. As you stand there, you begin to notice the water's now washing across your feet. You feel the warm, gentle water on your feet. Just know that that's the universe's way of expressing gratitude for you and your energy that you bring to this world. The ripple effect of kindness that you generate. It's with every wave, it's also the universe reminding you how supported you are, how loved you are, reminding you how amazing you are. It's the universe reminding you that it's always there conspiring on your behalf if you just take the time to quiet yourself and listen and pay attention. So just take this moment to really feel this connection and this exchange of gratitude. Now as we drift back here, back into Arch Mission Oak Cliff, just begin to deepen your breath. Begin to notice and become aware of your body again. And on the next inhale, just find some movement in your fingers and your toes. We're now bringing our physical body back to life. And on the next inhale, inhale through your arms, legs. Find some movement in your arms and your legs and your knees and your elbows. And just notice your body. Is your body asking for a particular movement? Maybe a stretch, maybe a shimmy, maybe a twist. Maybe it still needs to just lie there quietly. On the next inhale, I invite you to put your arms up over your head. Invite a big body stretch in if you haven't already. Deep inhale through your nose. Exhale through your mouth. Just letting out a big sigh. Just letting everything go. All those stressors, all those holiday things. Just deep inhale one more time. Yeah, just letting everything go. Awesome. And if you're on the floor, I'd invite you just to roll over and rest your head on your arm. The fetal position. The fetal position is one of the most comfortable positions we know because we came out of the body that way. Every joint bent. It's a signal to our body of safety. And when you're ready, with your opposite arm, just gently push yourself up to the seated position. Normally, right about now, I would be singing a mantra to you, but I apologize. I've got the crud still. So one of the most sound healing instruments that we have, powerful, is our own voice. So I'm going to invite you all to join me in a collective Om. It's a chant. People believe it was the noise or the sound of the beginning of the universe. But Om triggers the vibration within your body. And it's sparking that vagus nerve, right? So if you're ever having an anxiety attack, and I'm sure Nicole told you this, hum to yourself or chant to yourself. That helps a ton. It brings you back into the present moment and into your body. So let's do a Om. Let's do a collective Om. And when we do this Om, let's send the intention out to the world just to spread peace and love and joy. Okay? So everybody exhale completely. Hands to heart center if you want. Inhale for Om. And just know as that sound dissipates from your ears and from the air, the frequency and the vibration of that continues out into the world, again, spreading peace, love, and joy. It also resonates deeply within you, inviting in that same peace, love, and joy. Thank you for allowing me to come today. In the words of Megan, thank you. All right, with that, are there any questions? Anybody want to share their experience? Yes.
I just want to mention that one of the things that I've always liked about sound is its physicality. As a musician, whether you're playing an instrument or singing, or you're standing in front of giant speakers when you're an idiot teenager, but the physicalness, people think it's only your ears that matter with sound, and really it's your whole body. It's not just meditative sounds; these are beautiful sounds, but everything we hear, and it can be beautiful and also damaging.
Absolutely, yes, it can be damaging, but you're absolutely right. Turn on an 80s song and I'm like, yeah, I'm there.
But I do. I love the way. Thank you so much for bringing it.
It's my pleasure. It's my pleasure.
What is that sound that's really deep? Like, what instrument was that?
Was it early in the beginning?
Yeah, it's like really deep and vibrating.
So I was playing the is probably, and I'll play it again in a minute, is probably when I was playing this actually smaller gong, but I was using a friction mallet.
Okay.
So I was dragging it across the gong very much like you would do the crystal bowls.
Okay.
And it creates that really
Very
deep.
deep. Yeah.
Yeah.
I like that one.
Yeah. It's those deep frequencies we only hear. So if you think about frequency and sound, sound is this, and it's about, I think, 18 hertz to 18,000 hertz, somewhere in there. It's what we can hear with our ears. So there's frequency, though, that goes, way out here. And it's those lower 7 hertz frequencies, and even like the lower 12 hertz that you can hear, that really impact the body. So I use, in my private practice, I do vibroacoustic therapy. And I do it through a modified massage table that has transducers attached to it. And so the music is created specifically for the table, and it has some of those really deep frequencies that we don't often hear with our ears, but you can certainly feel it with your body. And you have headphones on, and the music, again, is created for the experience. And the music has binaural beats in it and some brainwave entrainment. And so we use a lot of deep delta and theta brainwaves to just really take your body down. And that's also what you're getting with some of these instruments, or some of those deep delta brainwave entrainments. Yeah.
Sound is interesting because it almost makes you feel safe, like safe to explore your thoughts or to see your thoughts. It's like I was just thinking of what the difference is between listening to any, like you said, the different vibrations and things like that. If you're listening to something that has lyrics, it's like it distracts you most of the time from your thoughts, but the particular vibrations help you feel safe, and it's different from silence, because silence can be almost like triggering or scary, because you're like, oh God, am I going too far into my thoughts? But like sound keeps you on like a safe plane, I guess. At least like that was my experience.
Oh, that's cool. That's good. That's a great observation.
Thank you.
Yeah. Awesome. Anybody else? Yes.
Do you have any thoughts about 528 hertz being the frequency of love? Do you agree or disagree?
I neither disagree or agree. I mean, I think for some people it probably is. It's just like the same with 432. There's all these different frequencies out there. And I was actually taught in school that it is the frequency of love. So I think it depends on how your body resonates. We all truly have a frequency blueprint that's different. It's like a snowflake comes in when we come into the world. And so, depending on what your frequency blueprint is, it may very well just really touch you. There's a song by David Pramal, and again, I probably would have sang part of it today, except for my voice is gone, that every time I hear it, and almost every time I sing it, it brings me to tears. So whatever the frequency of that song is my frequency of love, for sure. So I think it's a very good frequency. A lot of people talk about 528 being very healing, and I don't disagree with that. But I think there's other very healing frequencies as well. Yeah. Yes.
Have you ever had clients reach a certain frequency and there's like a emotional reaction, like crying?
Yes. That actually happens often.
Yeah. So is that the cleansing or release? What is that?
I think it's a combination of something going on, emotionally, and an allowing, right? When you allow those feelings to come up, and maybe there's, again, some blocked energy that was preventing that from coming up, but when you allow those things to come up, then you're really feeling them, and you're really able to address them at that point. I was taught, suppress all your emotion, don't cry, don't scream, don't holler, don't do all those things as a child. And so we tend to not do that, and we suppress it. So when we do that, I'm a true believer that becomes a physical problem in your body. Those emotional, things that we suppress are eventually going to come out somehow in a physical ailment, maybe whether it's chronic or just, something temporary. And I think, when sound moves those frequencies sometimes, and again, it's the allowing. I think it's Hippocrates that said that unless you're ready to deal with healing, you're not going to heal. So it really has a lot to do with you and the allowing process. And so, yes, many times people get into a state where, again, they feel that safety to feel. And, you know, when we've suppressed things, suddenly those things come up, and it can be uncomfortable, but then it can also be very freeing. Yeah, it was a good question. Anybody else? You're relaxed? When I do my night classes on Tuesday and Thursdays, it's like people don't want to get up. It's so late. It's like, I'm surprised we haven't spent the night at the refuge before. When it's dark and all those colors are going. Yes?
What was your like, how'd you get into this? Was it a formal education, an informal education? Did you just trial and error, research?
So again, kind of my personal story. I grew up with sound, with music, you know, in the band and stuff, and so I had some education, formal education from that perspective, and in college. So I knew harmonic notes and some of those things that are underlying in music and sound, and so, but it wasn't until, you know, I'd had it with the corporate world, and I dropped out. By the way, I'm an IT professional and operational professional, and I just had enough of that. And so in 2010, I dropped out, you know, of the corporate world, started helping with my parents because they were aging. And again, I had my first gong bath, and I knew something was totally different with sound than I've had ever experienced. So that led me on this path of studying, becoming a sponge and studying on my own, in learning things through some of my master practitioners. And then I did actually go on to get certification from the Globe Institute of Sound Healing. And so I learned a lot. Obviously, I learned a lot of stuff through that. It's you know, it's not just the science of sound, but they got into consciousness as well. And I continue to learn. I'm a forever student. Awesome. Anything? Anybody else?
So you're a practitioner and you do individual healing with your
Yeah.
table, and
Yes, I do.
you have a space that people come to do that?
I do.
Or-
I actually moved about 6 months ago, moved in with a psychotherapist out in Farmers Branch. We became really good friends and found that we believed a lot of the same stuff, kind of what I've been talking about today with emotions in the body and trauma. And so, and I'm very, that's my newest, you know, study, is learning about where we store trauma in the body and why, and how do we get it out. I'm not a trained psychologist, but I feel very comfortable now officing with her that I can work with people in that fashion, and if I get in over my head, then she's there. And so we share clients, and we're in 2020, we're going to start doing workshops and collaborating and doing some things together. So yes, and that's out at like Midway and 635-ish area.
I think that everybody would want to know, how can people find you?
I have cards up here. I have plenty. If we run out, I have more. It's also DenaeRichards.com or holisticsounds.life. Goes to the same place. And all my contact information is on my business card. And I would love for you to connect with me. Even if you don't come see me, I still really like to stay in touch with people and continue to learn from you guys. Yeah, cool. Anybody else? Thank you.